Hey, I'm Steven.
And I'm Brandon.
And we're independent hairdressers. We started this podcast because there's a movement in our industry.
Hairdressers are embracing independence more than ever. These are the stories of those hairdressers.
We hope you find them inspirational and educational and show you that independence does not mean isolation. You're a part of this revolution, and we're here to support that. All right, let's get it started. Brandon, will you introduce our guest today?
We are here with Vicki.
You can say Victoria. If this is going to be formal, say Victoria.
Oh, I didn't know this was formal. This isn't formal. This is the detergent insurgents.
Unformal.
Okay, this is Victoria Casciola.
I mean, Brandon, how long have you known me? You better know how to say my last name.
It's been a long time.
See, here I deferred to you to introduce her just so I wouldn't butcher the last name. And
okay, what is it? Casciola?
Casciola. Italian.
That's what, didn't I say that?
But you said
did.
it like Casciola,
like
you're scared?
Oh, yeah, like I didn't want to get punched
me.
by a girl with tattoos all over the place.
But didn't have tattoos forever.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait,
I did not.
So, okay, first of all, who is Victoria Casciola?
Who is she?
Okay, so the whole reason why we invited Vic, I'm going to call you Vicki for the show.
Just call me Vicki.
The reason why we invited Vicki on the show is when I met Vicki I think it was just this last show. Was it at the
Vegas?
IBS at Vegas?
IBS, yeah.
Yeah. What did inspire me and kind of I was somewhat overwhelmed by is after Brandon told me and I talked to Vicki, like she's kind of all over the place, travel wise. Also, skill sets, you do a lot of different things, anything from, and you'll have to fill me in, you do like session work, styling.
Session work, behind the chair.
You're also behind the chair.
Independent hairdresser.
Oh, and you do that independently. And then you also work with, I saw you specifically like
with
at the Hair Talk.
Hair Talk
Exactly.
and Hotheads.
Artistic director?
Oh, artistic.
There's
that's
some
a big word.
big titles too.
I am the artistic director
Nice.
of Hotheads Hair Extensions. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I am also an educator. I also develop product knowledge. I test different products. I mean, you name it. I'm that. I basically call myself a hair gypsy for that reason because I'm kind of all over the place in my everyday life.
Like even the world, like Japan.
Yeah.
And
different area codes, different countries. I mean, you can
awesome.
literally find me anywhere.
So maybe on the travel side of things, how often are you traveling? Are you more often than not? Or?
So let's put it this way. How many days a week am I home? I would say anywhere from 3 to 4. And then the rest of the time I'm gone. I travel more than half of the year, I feel like, yeah.
Does that energize you? Does that drain you?
It
or
completely stimulates me. I'm an adrenaline junkie when it comes to anything in life. So anything that I do, I have to do it full force. And I'm 100% an addict because I feel like any artist is an addict in whatever they do. So whatever they do, they put 100% in. And that's me. So anything that I do full force gives me energy. And people are like, how do you do it? It's like I thrive off of being stressed. I'm like a naturally high strung Zen person. And I know those both clash, but I just feel like I am Zen, but I am high strung.
Well,
but you would
maybe
never
where
know.
you feel like comfort or peace is in the action.
If I stay in one place too long, I get super anxious. Yeah. And I get super uninspired. And that stresses me out in a bad way. Yeah. Like, I like to be stressed out in a good way.
In a good way.
Yeah.
Good stress.
Yes, good stress.
The good motivator.
Yeah, that keeps me motivated.
That's perfect.
Super intense, high energy I saw on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, you're great at it.
It must be from all the cheerleading years. I don't know.
Yes, so that's what I want to hear about because you touched on that for 2 seconds. So,
well, I knew Vicki as a little cheerleader type. What was that? 14 years ago? 13 years ago?
Yeah, I was not even.
And now you look like you're from the hood. You're all blasted with tattoos. Sometimes you rocking some braids.
Yeah, but you're not saying that as the bad thing.
No, I'm just messing with
No,
it.
it's like, it's funny it's funny that you say that because, people that did see me, you used to know me as that one person. It's funny because I still am. Once you start to talk to me, people judge a book by its cover. They look, it's like, I feel like, that Sour Patch Kids, they're like, they look like they're really sour, but then they're sweet.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of like my personality. I've gotten more comfortable in my own skin.
Cool.
Believe it or not, as high energy as I am, I'm very shy.
Yeah?
I don't know you, if you're not introduced to me from somebody that knows me, I'm very shy.
Do you kind of put a little wall or be a little standoffish to that?
I just don't talk. Believe it or not, I don't talk.
That's amazing.
I do have a big mouth, but if you were to ask people around, like my friends and stuff, I am the most reserved out of all of them. I won't be the first one to come up to you and talk to you unless you were in my class. I guess it depends on the atmosphere.
It's like the context in which you meet somebody.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
say if I'm at the airport and there's a million people around that I don't know, I totally turn into this recluse and I put my headphones on and I'm shy.
So
but
how can you switch it on? I feel like I'm a really shy guy and I want to like switch that.
I guess it depends on the environment. Like people, first of all, are kind of scared, like to talk to me just because of how I look, so they won't approach me. But if I'm in a different situation and I have a class going on and I'm very nervous before I go on and before I teach, even before I go on stage, you wouldn't know. But I kind of just talk my way through it and just act like everybody else is the same as me. Yeah. And I just pretend that nobody's there and I just go for it. And in a classroom, I try to make other people feel comfortable because I feel so uncomfortable. You know what I mean? I kind of try to like reverse it. Right. Like they're the ones that are, you know, really scared to come and talk to me. But really, I'm the one that's really nervous and I'm like sweating bullets before I, you know.
Which makes you, you know, the definition of the MC, where it's really you're in charge of uniting the room and kind of getting all of that energy out of everybody.
I felt that energy on stage.
Yeah.
You did?
And the way
you were giving your energy and you were talking about energy and spreading good energy and you were getting good energy back. And
yeah, exactly. I specifically remember some things like that you said. That was awesome.
Yeah, it's because you take all of that inner anxiety, that scared, nervous anxiety, and you know how you hear, well, just act like the audience is naked? It's kind of like that. Just act like the audience either is just not there or you're like in a room by yourself and you're trying to make people comfortable. You want to sit there, and once you make the crowd feel comfortable, you automatically get this weight lifted off of your shoulder. Yeah. This feeling like, oh, I got this. Yeah. Give me 2 minutes on stage. I can defrost the crowd and then just kind of roll with it.
So it's not too different than making a client feel really good behind the chair.
Great.
That's helped me a lot. I feel like as I was younger, trying to build my clientele, but in the beginning, I had people I had no idea who they were, and I had to just kind of shoot the shit, small talk kind of a thing. And now it's so much easier to talk to other people. It's helped me kind of break out of that shell because I used to be extremely, extremely shy.
I think the key from what I'm hearing is that you're taking it's really not about you being up on stage. It's not about like Vicki, the star. It's about the people you're offering the service to, whether it's you're an educator, it's the crowd, it's the person in your chair. And by that, you know, your light shines, but you're not making it's not about you.
It's about making other people feel comfortable. It's kind of like why I do what I do. Why I do what I do is really to make other people feel good. Me making other people feel good, just like making them feel comfortable, makes me feel good. That's what kind of keeps me motivated to get up every morning. And no matter how bad of a day that I've had, I know that once I walk into that door, I'm going to change somebody's life. Whether it is just a root touch-up.
Sure.
Educating one little phrase, one little saying, you know, that I'll say will change somebody's life. And there's so much education going on, and you know, everybody learns a different way. But no matter if you've done hair for 25 years, 5 years, 2 years, you all go to the same class, you're never going to know everything, ever. You're always going to take home one little piece of information. It'll change your career immensely.
And I think it's just different. I mean, everybody that shows up in those environments could take something completely different away. And you might even present it and not feel like you had this profound thing to share. But I mean, it's kind of amazing what the little things people will pick up on in those environments too.
And I try to relate when I'm educating or when I'm talking behind the chair or whatnot, to relate real life scenarios. You know, not all of this like craziness that people talk on stage and these numbers and this and that, like stuff that's not realistic. I like to talk realistic. I like to talk raw, organic, like what happens in real life, not making bazillions of dollars as, you know, these high-end hairdressers.
Sure. Totally.
Just kind of keep it real. And I feel like they relate to that better no matter what situation you're in, educating, on stage, set work, just even doing just a simple podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like I do better in life winging it versus trying to remember, because I know I remember we're in school and they're like, okay, you're in theater, and they're like, they give you this whole page to read and you have to do it word for word. I'm like, can't I just read it and feel it and then just kind of play off of how I feel? I feel like it'll come out better. They're like, no, that's not what you're supposed to do. I did it anyways. You don't like to be
in a box.
I do not. I am more outside the box than anybody I know. And it's way more fun out there. It's way more fun.
So how did this whole thing get started?
So
how did you get into it?
This is a funny story because this all goes back when First of all, when people say, I was born to do this, I truly, truly was born to do this. Right out of the womb. I'm not saying that, I was braiding hair, but about 5 years old when my baby sister was born, Nanda, I started braiding hair. There was no YouTube back then. There was no how-tos. There was no braiding books. I just kind of saw something on my dolls and I just started playing on my sister's hair. And again, she was only 1. We're 5 years apart, but we're Italian. We're super hairy. So she had a lot of hair.
That's amazing.
And I totally thought that she was like my kid and my baby doll.
Oh my God.
So I started doing her hair, and then I started going to kindergarten and started doing hair in class.
Wow.
And believe it or not, every year, class has gotten bigger, you gotten more well known, and I really did get in trouble. I really did get written up for it. Everybody hears this in school. This isn't beautician class, in the back, or I don't know. I used to hear it all the time. I don't know if I thought it was
paying attention.
Instead of paying attention, I literally was always doing hair.
Wow.
So by the age 10, my parents built a salon for me on the side of the house.
Age 10?
Age 10.
Wow.
And I started slinging hair
on
the side of my house.
Original, independent hairdresser.
So whoever the heck trusted me doing their hair, and I have a whole block that I still do to this day that can vouch for me. They're crazy. I had no experience, but it was the natural. I fell in love with the fact of being able to change something by just looking at it.
Yeah, what were you at 10 years old? What types of services were you providing?
I was braiding, I was cutting.
Serious?
Instead of cutting my own hair, I would practice on other people's hair. So the kid that was come to school and they cut their hair. I just really wanted long hair. I'm like, well, you gave yourself bangs.
You should have come to me.
Come to me. And so I was cutting, I was coloring, the spray paint, the spray
awesome.
Colors. It was in the
Yeah.
80s. So all that crazy stuff was big. And they just trusted me for some reason. And then as I got older, we moved to another house and then they built a more legit salon. And I started doing real hair. I actually started getting into color and I had no idea. Everything that I learned, I kind of just tried it.
It's experiential.
I experimented.
Yeah.
Thank God I have a great family and a big family and friends. I went to a regular school. I was a full-time gymnast and cheerleader. And I didn't want to change schools because the school that I was going to, a vocational school, there were no sports. And I'm very athletic. But they made me go. They saw that I had this talent and I was like, whatever, it's not going to get me anywhere. But they made me go. And it was free cosmetology school for 2 years, your junior and senior year. I didn't have to pay for it.
Nice.
So at the age of 18, I was a full-blown hairdresser. I graduated high school with honors only because I had 6 classes of hair. That's the only reason, guys. It's because those 6 classes, if you got 1A, you got 6.
That's awesome.
And then from there on, I never looked back. One of my biggest qualities is my discipline to whatever I do. I 100% complete it to the fullest. Yeah. My goals are sometimes you wouldn't even think that you could reach, but I make sure that I reach them and I will always have another goal lined up. I don't want to say nothing is good enough, but I kind of have that mentality is okay, I'm going to get there, but then what's next? What's next? What's the next best thing?
Totally.
And that's what led you to do all these things.
Yeah. That's why I have my hand in so many different things. Yeah. I can't just be behind the chair, even though being behind the chair is awesome because I get to change lives on a daily basis and I get to stay creative. But when I'm out teaching, I actually get inspiration from other artists. And when I go and take education classes, it inspires me to come back to the chair and be like, okay, let me try this.
Yeah.
But if I was there 5 days a week, every single week, I'd be so uninspired. I'd be so boring. I'd be so bored that you would probably start to see it in my work.
Right.
So I like to be at the salon 3 days a week, on set at least once a week, traveling wherever, educating. And that kind of keeps my brain stimulated. And as an artist, it's very hard to keep an artist stimulated and motivated and excited about waking up every day.
Well, and it's cool because as an educator, you understand that about your audience because there are those people too.
Exactly.
So you can kind of know how to help them with that.
Exactly.
What's your favorite thing you're doing right now? Because I couldn't say just what's your favorite thing you've ever done? It's no, because I imagine right now it's this thing. Tomorrow it might be something else.
Yeah.
Actually, in an hour or so, it might be something else. I would have to say is really being on set. Being on set right now is so amazing to me because being behind the chair, it's great, but trying to capture those beautiful images and to get that beautiful masterpiece on a piece of paper or on the internet or whatever is so hard. And when you're on set, you have everybody's professional, everybody knows what they're doing, everybody has their each part, and your masterpiece looks 10 times better. You really get the full feeling of what you're doing behind the chair.
Yeah.
So whether it's a cut, whether it's a color, whether it's a style, you can try so hard behind the chair to capture that. And you really don't get that full effect.
Yeah, you need
just by taking pictures. You need the photographer, you need the stylist. And me being surrounded by such creative people and having that creative energy and that squad together to make that masterpiece.
Yeah.
And to finally get to see it and get it published is like, I can't even tell you the feeling.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite projects you've worked on?
I got chills just right there because it was a lifetime dream to, Modern Salon has been around for 30 plus years, this magazine, right? And I said, one day I'm going to get the cover. You got Orbe, you got Vidal, you've got all these amazing people landing these covers.
Yeah.
And I really don't even like to talk about this because that's another thing is I'm very humble.
Yeah.
So I don't like to talk about myself,
well.
but in this instant, like it was one of my proudest moments. It was 2 years ago and Modern Salon asked if I would like to, try out for the cover. Basically, if Modern Salon asked you to do the cover, you don't have it. And I didn't really know that going into it. And I put so when you go in there, you have to do a mood board. They said, okay, your month is going to be November. If you think of November, what is the first thing that comes to your head? Down to what the model looks like, to the hair color, to the style, to the makeup, to the fingernails. You don't even really think of all this stuff being a hairdresser.
Yeah.
What one image takes, but it takes a crew. It takes a whole entire crew to make this happen. But I had to send a mood board into everything. They gathered the model, the stylist, and all the wardrobe that I, picked. And I tried out and they said, okay, you're trying out for November. I was like, okay. A month passed. I did in October. It was already November and I didn't hear anything. And I was like, I thought I got the November cover to Hotheads. And they're like, no, it's not guaranteed.
Hence the
I thought they would tell me in October, trying out. And they didn't tell me to try it. I thought I just got it.
Yeah.
November hits. The day that it hits is the day I got the email that I got the cover.
Oh my gosh.
I got the cover of it.
They launch
and
I
literally, nobody said
Surprise.
anything. And I was like, gotta be kidding me. So in 2014, I got the November cover.
Nice.
But then last year, they did the same thing, and they said that December is going to be your cover. So what would you think? And I was like, okay, December, it kind of brings in the whole year of what was trending, what's the next best thing, the newest big thing. So I put this whole denim thing together because you know how gray is so big, and that was their first gray hair colored model. So I really went on a limb. I'm like, Modern Salon's more classic.
Yeah,
They're very more, just clean. They've started to get a little bit more edgier because obviously everyone's having more fun with their hair color now.
Sure.
And I was in Amsterdam and didn't hear anything. And I was like, I don't got it. Like, I didn't hear a peep. Like, before they were like, people were kind of talking about it. They're like, no, you got it. You got it. Nothing. And I was in Amsterdam. And so it was really like the day after. And they had posted it. And I was like, so I got the cover December 2015. So those two things, I could still probably even cry, like even talking about them, because it was the most amazing feeling ever. I remember listening to P. Diddy. This is a really funny story, but like P. Diddy was talking about like, oh yeah, I remember the first time I heard my music on the radio. He's like, the first thing I did was call my mom. Because I was just hearing this whole story. But yeah, like I'm in Amsterdam. I forgot how to three-way. I three-wayed, four-wayed everybody, and I called everybody. And it was just like, that's like a hairdresser's dream.
That's awesome.
Besides getting the cover of Vogue, which will happen one day. But
yeah, you'll get there.
That's pretty much the biggest accomplishment I've made so far. That sticks in my head.
What were you in Amsterdam for?
I was in Amsterdam launching Hair Talk hair extensions, and we went from Amsterdam to Sweden. We are part of, it's called Hearts of India. It's a charity for women, for unfortunate women, and we were there celebrating that.
Tell me more about that. Like, I'm interested in what
Hearts
that
of
charity
India,
is for.
It's so that's a great thing. It's like, as much as we take, you always need to give back. As much as we give back within our services and stuff, we are an extension company.
Sure.
It's for like the less fortunate women. They basically raise money to give them a home to live in and build their education. There's such an overpopulation of women, and there's not enough money. A lot of people think women don't need the education as much as men do because men are more powerful, and especially like other countries, it's so much more different than it is here in the U.S. now. So it gives them the opportunity to go to school and them to be the lawyers and to be like the top notch and whatnot. It's really, really awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Is that where a lot of extension hair comes from?
India?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
absolutely. Absolutely. So giving back to
the people that are given to you.
Yeah, giving back to the people that are given to you. Yeah, it's great. You know, we have a bunch of different charities that we're a part of, and it just makes you feel that much more special and that much more better about
how you
taking when you're giving.
Hey, you don't need that extra hair over there.
I mean, they have the most beautiful hair ever, so
absolutely.
they'll just grow it all back.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about it.
Yeah.
Is that one of the main avenues for traveling and things like that right now? Is through
Extension Company? Yes.
Cool.
So I was just in Tokyo 3 months ago. I don't remember.
Nice.
All the days aren't together, but I was there launching Hair Talk. It's always amazing the different challenges you get when you travel, because obviously I definitely don't speak any other language. I speak English, and that might just even be Ebonics.
No Italian?
I understand Italian to a certain extent. I mean, now that it's not spoken to me as much,
sure,
you know, you kind of just like lose it.
Yeah.
If I lived in Italy for a couple months, I'm sure I could get it back. Yeah. But, you know, you have to practice it daily. But yeah, my English, I mean, is still not even the best. So going to other countries, it's kind of challenging trying to teach when you have a translator, because you have to speak a certain way. Now, I feel like I speak fast and a little bit more Ebonics.
Sure.
And they're like, I don't know how to translate that. So everything takes a little bit more time, but definitely have to have patience. I don't have patience in a lot of things.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like this area and like learning and teaching, for some reason, I have a lot of patience.
Yeah, you'll slow down and make sure somebody comprehends what you're trying to do.
Absolutely.
Because
they won't leave the room until they know exactly what I'm doing and exactly. Even if I have to stay for hours, I'm just not the teacher that's like, okay, let's get in there and get out.
It's awesome. Because it's not the Vicki show.
It's definitely, I like that you said that. It's not the Vicki show. Yeah. It's all about whoever's in the audience, whoever is learning. It's their show.
Yeah.
I'm just living
You're facilitating
it.
it.
Yeah.
That's
awesome. Helping them out.
What's next then?
What's next?
Yeah.
Oh man, there's a list of stuff. Well, I already told you one thing. I will get the cover of Vogue one of these days.
Clearly.
But that's a long-term goal. What's next is I want to make sure that I fill my passport up a little bit more. I mean, I've been to so many different countries as it is this year. You know, Tokyo, Hong Kong. I went to Switzerland, Amsterdam, Paris. I'm doing all this and I love it. Mm-hmm. It's great being able to travel and do what you love every single day. It kind of feels like a dream, but I can't believe that I'm here. I've worked so hard and I still feel like I'm not even where I'm supposed to be yet.
Sure.
Is it that hunger, that drive?
I have like the craziest hunger pains. I'm always hungry in real life and when it comes to my career. Nothing is like good enough.
You're never full.
Not necessarily good enough, but like I just always want more. I always want to better myself in so many other ways. I want to make sure that I can achieve as many goals as humanly possible in one life. You know, you only get one life.
Well,
you know, and if you live it right, well, maybe that's true. But if you live it right, you're not going to need another one. I definitely want to do more session work with bigger photographers and bigger projects.
Yeah.
A lot of the session work that I do, it is through Hotheads and Hair Talk, but also on the side, I make sure at least once a month, me and a team, I have a couple different, you know, photographers, makeup artists and stuff, will collaborate and we'll put together this entire production.
And it's just not paid, you guys,
it's just for us. But the thing is, there always has to be a story behind it and a purpose and a reason to do it. And we won't work just for like nothing. Like, I mean, obviously it's no money, but we will work to make sure that it gets published.
Yeah.
And everything that I've touched in the past 2 years has gotten published, which is phenomenal. And it's not just me. It takes an army, but you truly have to be surrounded by amazing artists to make that one beautiful photo go viral. So I've definitely been blessed to be able to, you know, be around these artists. And I do a lot of, I guess you could say, free work, or I just work even when I don't have to work.
Sure.
work.
We've heard a lot of that lately.
Yeah. However, the thing that stands out to me is like that you've got some purpose behind it.
Yes.
Because I think it's easy for creative people and hairdressers to just like produce and just create. But sometimes we lack the vision for turning that into something. Like, how do you and like I said, it doesn't even necessarily have to be like money or something like that, but showing your work, like making sure like
that goes somewhere and does something. Even if it's such a small thing, doesn't matter. Like, I think
it's
finishing it off.
Yeah, it's finishing. And I think that has to do with, the dedication and the drive. You kind of surround yourself with who you want to be with, who you want to be, basically. And everybody I surround myself with are all good people. What is the saying? You are who you hang out with. But yeah, you really do need to surround yourself with people that have the same passion and have the same drive.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, and especially nowadays, I don't know if you guys agree, but everybody wants to be a hairdresser. Like everybody. Okay, so a hairdresser nowadays is like the new rapper. Basically, it's true.
Okay.
Like when it comes down to barbers and hairdressers, I feel are on such a different pedestal than they used to be. And
there's
it's
like
such
a cool thing about it.
Yeah, no, it is. It's like, the more I've been reading and the more that like I glance through social media, it's, it's basically said that like, a hairdresser or a barber is like the new rapper. It's the new artist. And they all want to know about you and what you do and how you do what you do because of social media. It's really crazy.
Our job,
our career
translates really well to a visual format like that too. So
I mean, it is. It's art, and at the end of the day, it can be a performance. There is shows. There's so much you can do just being a hairdresser. It's basically a hair artist.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways you can translate it.
Yeah.
On paper, on TV, on stage, on camera, like whatever. That's crazy.
So what are some things, if you were starting this all now, like what is some advice to that person who, is you 10 years ago? What are some mistakes to try to avoid? What are some opportunities not to miss?
You need to make mistakes.
Okay.
And able to learn.
Don't try to avoid mistakes.
Do not try to avoid mistakes because you want to know what? Like the only way that I've learned in life is the hard way. You try to tell me something and try to avoid something and I'm like, okay, make sure that you don't do this and make sure that you do. The more that you tell me something, I'm going to go completely opposite way. That's just how I am. You tell me to be good, I'm going to be bad. So I don't want to sit here and tell them exactly what to do, but make sure whatever you do in life, make sure it does have a purpose. It does have a foundation. And that you need to keep that fire burning. It's kind of like fire. And the more that you throw the wood in there, the more that it's going to burn. That's what your mind and that's what your soul has to be consistently on a day-to-day basis. You want to keep that fire burning. And the only way to do that is to stay inspired is education. To surround yourself by people that inspire you, by the nature that inspires you. Reading pictures do.
Yeah.
And social media does inspire me. As much as sometimes I hate it, I love it because there's so much good in it, but there's also so much bad. But you have to take all of the good out of bad. Always. I'm always turning a negative into a positive. I'm a very positive person. And I feel like nowadays, that's the only way you're going to be able to get through life and stay inspired and stay on top is to never get knocked down.
Right.
And don't compare yourself to the person on social media because who knows if that's like the real them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you meet them in person, first off, they're probably not going to look like that. Second off, they may be so shy and not be able to hold a conversation. Because, the generation nowadays, it's like you talk to one another and they can't even look you in the eyes and they can't hold a conversation because they're so used to being in the phone and so caught up on like, oh, okay, what's next? What's this and that? I don't have to talk. I can text. So I feel like, my generation is the last generation that has the advantage to kind of take their social media and take their actual interaction with people and run with it.
Yeah.
Because the new generation, all they have is the social media and not like face to face.
Interesting.
And you need both. I feel like to make it in life.
So from somebody that, I've followed you on social media, I would say you're pretty successful doing that kind of stuff.
I would say to touch on that with social media, I feel like I see all of these artists that, are new, but they're also younger and they have these bazillion followers. And I think that's so amazing and so inspiring. But like, how does one do that? I just feel like, that I just hit a certain amount that's amazing. And it's the people that I don't really know them, but I've definitely touched their hearts. And I feel like I kind of actually know them. It's just not a crazy amount. And I don't understand how they get those crazy amount of followers if they're bought and I'm not like tech savvy, but I'm keeping up and I keep brushing up on it like as much as possible.
My point was going to be from somebody that like participates in it and does pretty well there, maybe the advice is put it away sometimes.
Yeah.
Because, we're kind of talking about how like if you can't sit in front of somebody, look them in the eye and have a conversation, you're missing out on a lot.
This stuff's great. Technology is awesome.
It's amazing.
But don't hide behind your phone.
Don't hide behind your phone. Like, I mean, I just went to a concert and people are sitting there filming it the whole time. I'm like, yo, you're at the concert. Like, I'm all about living in the now. Mm-hmm. Nobody lives in the now anymore because everything, you're at the concert, but you're not really mentally there. You're like trying to see, oh my God, what image, what video. I want to post the best video.
Yeah.
You really do just have to put it away sometimes. And you know what? Time will tell. Your time will come. And just be patient and be you and try to stand out in a different way.
Right.
You know, social media is huge. It works to our advantage in so many different ways. It's definitely built people's clientele, and I don't want to talk down on it.
Oh, sure.
But I think it needs to be a balance.
Yeah, it's just
and everything
in
life needs to. Yeah, it's a great tool. It's a great tool, but you need to have some balance with other social aspects.
And honestly, there's a lot of people out there that create beautiful work, and nobody ever sees it in that arena. And that makes it no less important.
Okay, so
this is deep.
Yes.
How do you feel about shampoo?
I was waiting for that question.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, because first of all, I was talking about this at the salon. I am completely overwhelmed with product. It's like up to my ears. Our salon has like 7 different lines, and there's one product for everything, but then they all kind of like intermingle, and this is for curly hair. I'm like, you can use like literally one product for everything. Less is more. And this is how I've always been. If I'm on set, you're not going to see me with an entire table of product. I'll bring a hairspray, like, flexible one. I'll even use hairspray as a root pump or something. Mm-hmm. Like, less is more. Shampoo, I feel like there doesn't need to be a curly shampoo, a thin shampoo, a straight shampoo, this, blah, 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 blah. I think it's all a crock of pardon my French. And like I said, less is more with product. I've been saying this. It's just so overwhelming. Everybody's coming out with their own line. Mm-hmm. But I feel like every product that comes out, it's the same thing. It's just rebranding it. Mm-hmm. And good for them. I give them kudos. When you're trying to represent yourself and start something new and whatever, just get your names out there. I think it's a beautiful thing. I just think that people eventually are going to catch on and get overwhelmed. Like, what product's better than this product? If a product line's consistently coming out with something, is it just the same product, and they're like adding like a drop of lavender or a drop of this?
Yes.
I just think, well, no, and the thing is, I know because I work a lot with product development, trying to test stuff, and it's funny, the more that you know and the more that you're on the other side. So another thing is, like, I make sure that I'm on all sides. Like, yes, being a hairdresser, but I know how things are produced. I know where it comes from. I've been to the factories. It's so funny, the packaging and who presents it. That's the impact. That's the impact right there. What it actually does is bull.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, but it's true. I just think that product is overwhelming, and there could be one product that does many.
How do you feel about shampoo as far as like, how do you use it? Do you recommend it?
Don't ask how I use it, because I don't wash my hair, Brandon.
So we're getting down to something.
Yes. This is another thing. This is what I stress my clients. Yes, people think that it's so gross that I don't wash my hair every day, but actually my hair doesn't produce as much oils as if I was to wash it every day.
Absolutely.
I wash it every other day.
We love that you understand that.
I completely understand that, because I got a mane on my head, and it takes a lot to wash, and it's a waste of product, and actually your hair starts to feel more brittle.
How often do you wash your hair then?
You really want to know?
Yeah, no, really. Yeah. There's no right or wrong
every
answer.
2 weeks.
Yeah, no, that's
beautiful.
Great.
And how often do you recommend it to your clients?
I mean, I don't even say every other day. I say, once a week is honestly, I think it depends on where you're located, depending on humidity and stuff. My clients out here, it's so dry that they're like, it's so weird, because their hair was so oily, even if they had fine hair. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, it's because you wash it every day. They're like, I have to. I go to the gym, and I'm like, just blow dry that. Like, it's fine. Yeah. You know what I mean? But now I've had clients that were like every other day. Now I've got them to like 3 days. I've and they're like, my hair's not as oily.
Yeah.
And I was like, the more you wash it, the more oil you're going to produce. So they're like, they're like, you're so right. I'm like, this is the only thing I'm 100% about is hair. Anything else, don't ask me. Don't ask me.
Awesome.
So that's how I feel about shampoo.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank
you.
That
was awesome.
I just want to thank Whist,
which is one of my favorite places to go.
It's got Vicki's endorsement.
Yes.
Whist,
definitely.
Stove, and Spirits. And I want to thank Vicki for being here.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure.
And thank you, listeners. You can learn more about Vicki at
VickiCasciola.com.
Oh, she even got her name.
Website, my Instagram, my Facebook. Everything is just Vicki Casciola.
Awesome.
Because it keeps it simple.
I'm going to try and spell it, and you're going to correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, go.
Vicki. And then Casciola, Casciola.
Good.
Bam. Nailed it.
Oh, you did better than Brandon.
Way better.
Way better.
Thank
Good memory.
you again so much. This has been awesome.
Thank you guys for having
me.
me.
It's been an honor to finally
after what,
an
how
hour
many months?
of your time.
Yeah, we nailed you down. It was awesome. This was perfect.
See, everything happens for a reason.
It really does.
Yeah.
Thank you, listeners, and we'll see you next time.
Part 2 coming soon.
Bye.
If you don't want to destroy your hair, or your hair color for that matter, go ahead and try a free bottle of New Wash on Us. It's a new way to wash hair with a new approach to selling. Go to our website or follow the link on our Instagram.
Thank you for joining us for this episode. We hope you liked it as much as we loved making it. For more information about us, our guest, or anything else you heard today, please go to detergentinsurgents.com.